Hey, what's up, everyone? This is me, Dre. Now, I've been kind of putting off making this video, but the shit has kind of been eating at me, so now the time has come. Now, this video is about Stacy Dash. She's the Fox News correspondent, and of course, because she's one of those self-hating black people, these motherfucking coons, whenever Fox News wants to shut black people down, they get someone that'll speak out against blacks who are black. So you have the likes of Sheriff David Clark, the motherfucker who thinks that police brutality doesn't exist and it hasn't existed since the 60s. And now you have this bitch, Stacy Dash. The reason why they had on a news interview recently is because it was a response to Jada Pinkett Smith. She put out a video where she expressed her concern about the lack of black representation at the Oscar Awards. Her husband, Will Smith, he was in a movie called Concussion, and he's got a lot of raving reviews from Miami Herald, LA Times, New York Times, Washington Post, a lot of these big news publications around the country talking about how brilliant of a performance he gave. But for all that, he wasn't recognized as a nominee for the Oscars. So she put out a video, and it wasn't just about that, because in past years, black people have always been excluded. And in the history of the Oscar Awards, there haven't been that many black people that have actually won the Oscars. Ironically, whenever they want a presenter to come out, they're going to call someone black, typically a comedian like Eddie Murphy or Chris Rock, someone that's going to stand up and, joke around and play Amos and Andy and buffoon in front of the crowd, and then hand off the award to a white person. That's typically how the Oscar works. But then Stacy Dash says, black people, because we need to make up our mind whether we want segregation or integration. What Jada Pinkett Smith is saying, that the award needs to be more integrated. It shouldn't be just white people that are winning this awards. It should be people of color. Unfortunately, Hollywood has a funny way of presenting people of color. They had a show called Fresh Off the Boat. The type of title for a show about Asians, that's pretty fucked up. Fresh Off the Boat. That's almost like calling Mexicans fresh across the border. It's that kind of show. And shows that they have about Latinos and Latinas, they're usually stereotypical. Latinos are typecasted as loud, bean and tortilla-eating neighbors who like to party and drink. Unfortunately, the culture of Latinos is not that way. But all of a sudden, Hollywood, in order to bring it more mainstream so that white people can kind of embrace it, that's what they portray. And then all of a sudden you get white people coming up to Latinos or blacks trying to think they understand the culture. All of a sudden they get it all wrong. But that's neither here nor there. But Dash is saying that we need to either integrate or segregate. And if we want to segregate, then we need to get rid of shows or channels such as BET. Now, for media, as far as TV is concerned, because I work for a TV provider, there's only 3 main black stations. BET, which pretty much everyone knows, Centric, and TV One. But you're not going to see a lot of black-dominated shows on your regular networks, such as Lifetime or Hallmark, ABC, CBS, NBC, or Fox. You're going to have some black shows. But the viewership and the way the Nielsen ratings and everything works, they put those shows later in the week when most people are going to be out and about. And eventually those shows get canceled. But Dash, she's got the fucking audacity to say that those channels should be gotten rid of. If that's the case, then where's the black representation going to be at? Because we as black people, we can't rely on Bravo to represent us. And if you look at Bravo, we have like Love and Hip Hop, Housewives of this fucking city or that city. Those kind of networks, they make ratings and money off of black people acting like niggas, which is why I distance myself away from those shows. But Stacy Dash, she doesn't have a problem with that. And speaking of Stacy Dash, because she was once employed by BET, she didn't have a problem when she was collecting a check from them when she was on the show The Game. She certainly didn't have a problem when she was getting a check for those magazines that she graced the cover and had articles about her. But she's fallen out of relevance, and now Fox News, she feels like she's someone important. So they brought her in to talk about politics, like she really knows much about politics. She's basically Fox News' whore. That's all she is. Then this bitch goes on to say that Black History Month should be done away with. Now me, I don't jump up and down for joy when February comes around. My birthday's in February. That's about the only thing that's special to me besides my mother and my sister's birthday. But Black History Month, I don't jump up and down for joy for that. But to get rid of it, how are people that are not black supposed to understand the nature of black people and how we've come to be in this country? Because there are some school districts here in the United States that don't teach Black History Month. In South Texas, they don't teach Black History Month where I live. That's something that I have to talk to my youngest daughter about Black history. She's got to understand that there's more to history as it's written by white people than that account. She needs to understand it from a different perspective, a black perspective. She needs to understand that the country was not just built on the backs of white people, when in fact Asians, blacks, and Hispanics and other cultures helped to build this country. But history doesn't teach that. History teaches, as it does here in Texas, that African slaves that were shackled and chained and shipped spoon style and cargo ships, they were brought here as motherfucking workers. That's how it's being portrayed in history books now, because they don't want the little white kids to be traumatized at the fact that black people were slaves. Workers have the option to clock in and out. If they're not feeling good, they can call and say, hey boss, I need to use some sick time. African slaves didn't have that luxury. If they didn't feel good working out in the 100-degree sun while they're picking motherfucking cotton and they fell out, they didn't get a ladle with water in it. They got a crack of a whip on their ass. That's what they got. And they were left to die out in the fields. They didn't get much help. They were lynched. They were burnt. They were separated from the families. They were killed off. They were raped. That's what happened to these quote-unquote fucking workers that they want to try to portray African slaves as. But Stacy Dash says that people should learn about that. And if there's going to be a Black History Month, there should be a White History Month. The fucking 12 months of the year is all about white history. Most of the contributions of people of color are not portrayed in this history that she's talking about. So there doesn't need to be a White History Month, because any month that you talk about, there's something that to talk about with someone that's white. And a lot of people are going to disagree with this. A lot of people are going to hate this video, but fuck you. I don't care. This isn't me being racist against white people. I'm speaking the truth, and I'm not disparaging white people. I'm not trying to put white people down. I'm just speaking the truth from a black perspective. And for those that can't handle it, they're part of the fucking problem. But anyway, this bitch, she's fallen out of relevance, and Fox News has it just like they have David Clark. So again, whenever they need a black person who hates themselves and hates the black culture, they call on one of these two bitches to speak out. And they're shaming the race. So that's what white people have to look forward to. And they applaud it. Sheriff Clark talks about there's no police brutality and black people that are protesting because they're tired of being unarmed and shot and killed by the cops. White people are applauding that because Sheriff Clark is saying that black people just need to get the fuck over it. And now white people are applauding Stacy Dash because he's saying, oh yeah, she put Jada Pinkett Smith in her place. It's ludicrous. It really is ludicrous. There doesn't need to be Black History Month. They need to get rid of the fucking BET. But it's funny, no one has anything to say when Miley Cyrus is getting an award on an Image Award show from a black station. Ain't that about a bitch? Anyway, if you like this video, I hope that you like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook. Peace.